Allo, allo, it's Nia. Welcome to AI Creator World Podcast, the place where creators learn how to grow faster, build smarter, and turn artificial intelligence into real opportunity. Here, we explore powerful AI tools, content strategies, personal branding systems, and new ways to create income in the digital era. If you are building something online, you are in the right place. Let's begin.
You could post the absolute greatest, most insightful video on the internet tomorrow morning. Like, the lighting is perfect, the script is brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. Masterpiece level.
Right. But if you checked your metrics 10 minutes later, panic because the numbers look low, and then immediately change your thumbnail or your caption.
You've killed it.
Yeah, you have probably already killed it. Welcome to today's deep dive. I am right there with you in the algorithmic trenches, trying to find the actual signal through the noise.
Because frankly, it is exhausting trying to figure out what works online anymore.
It really is.
It's entirely exhausting, mostly because the reality of the modern internet is that we're all navigating through this algorithmic fog. We're pulling levers, we're changing hashtags, and just kind of praying something connects. But the creators who are actually dominating the feed, they aren't praying.
No, they definitely aren't.
They are operating on a very rigid, very specific system.
Which brings us to today's source. We are digging into the Analyze AI Influencer Performance Metrics Simple Data Framework Guide.
Such a fascinating read.
It really is. It's this fascinating look at the landscape in 2026. The mission for this deep dive is to extract the exact framework used by top-tier AI influencers to decode algorithms.
Right.
And whether you're a brand, an independent creator, or just someone who wants to understand why certain posts absolutely hijack your attention while others just, disappear into the void.
Yeah, fall off a cliff.
Exactly. This is incredibly valuable knowledge for you. So, okay, let's unpack this. Because this isn't just a technical manual about AI avatars, it's literally a masterclass in modern digital strategy.
It is, and I think the most crucial insight to start with is unlearning a fundamental misconception.
Okay, lay it on me.
Most creators who hit a sudden growth plateau, they do not fail because their content got worse.
Really?
Yeah, they fail because they're optimizing their strategy based on raw emotion and instinct instead of structured data.
Oh, right.
They see a post underperform, the anxiety spikes, and they change everything at once.
I mean, if you're listening to this and pulling up your own dashboard right now, you might be staring at a stagnant follower count and just sweating.
Oh, we've all been there.
We really have. But the guide actually tells us that the first hurdle is redefining what we're even looking at. There's a razor-sharp distinction made here between vanity metrics and growth indicators.
Yes.
So how do those two things actually differ in the eyes of the algorithm?
Well, think about what we are socially conditioned to care about, right? Total likes and total follower counts.
The big shiny numbers.
Exactly. Those are vanity metrics. They are highly visible. They provide great social proof to a human being who clicks on your profile to decide if you are legitimate.
Right.
But the algorithm itself is a cold machine. It does not care about your total follower count. Vanity metrics are practically invisible to the distribution engine.
Wait, invisible, that feels really counterintuitive.
I'm gone.
Because if I have like 100,000 followers, doesn't the algorithm prioritize my content just based on my sheer size?
Not anymore. No. What the algorithm actually cares about are growth indicators.
Right.
These are metrics like your save rate or your watch-through rate on a video. We have to look at this from the platform's perspective.
Which is making money.
Right. The platform's only goal is to keep users on the app so they can be served more ads. If someone saves your post, that is a behavioral proxy telling the platform, this user intends to return to the app to look at this again.
Oh, wow.
You just guarantee future time in app. So the algorithm rewards that action heavily.
Okay, that makes total sense. A save is essentially a future ad impression.
Exactly.
But let me stop you, because there's a very real business side to this. Brand deals, sponsorships, PR lists.
Sure. Yeah.
They still rely heavily on follower counts. I mean, if I'm trying to make a living doing this, isn't it incredibly risky to just ignore those shiny vanity numbers?
Well, nobody is saying you shouldn't want followers.
Right.
The trap is optimizing for vanity metrics at the expense of growth indicators. If you do that, you produce an account that looks active on the surface, but is fundamentally a ghost town.
Give me an example of that.
Let's say you run a massive giveaway just to get follows. Your follower count skyrockets. But those new followers don't care about your actual content.
They just want the free iPad.
Right. So they don't watch your videos all the way through, and they don't save them
So your watch-through rate just plummets.
drastically. And because your growth indicators tanked, the algorithm stops distributing your content entirely.
Oh, man.
You hit your vanity target, but you killed your distribution. When you focus purely on growth indicators, getting people to actually save your posts and watch your videos, the vanity metrics naturally follow as a byproduct.
That reframes the whole dashboard for me. Relying on vanity metrics to gauge your account's health is like judging a car's engine by how shiny the paint job is.
Spot on.
Like, it looks great in the driveway, but it doesn't mean the car can actually drive.
Yes.
And this ties perfectly into that anxiety we mentioned earlier, because the guide warns against checking metrics before 24 to 48 hours have passed.
Oh, checking metrics 10 minutes after you post is the single fastest way to derail your strategy.
Yeah.
Data does not stabilize in those first few hours. The algorithm is running micro tests. It's showing it to small batches of people.
This is all over the place.
The numbers will fluctuate wildly. Checking it constantly just creates anxiety, and anxiety leads to impulsive, account-damaging decisions.
Guilty as charged. I will literally refresh the page hoping the number jumped.
We all do it.
But since we are agreeing that vanity metrics are just a shiny exterior, we need to look under the hood at the core engagement engine.
Let's do it.
And the metric that dictates everything is engagement rate, or ER.
Yeah. To understand the engine, you really need to understand ER. The formula is pretty straightforward. It's total engagements divided by followers multiplied by 100.
Okay, let me do the math out loud just so we are all on the same page here.
Go for it.
If I have 1,000 followers and a post gets 50 engagements, that's 50 divided by 1,000, which is 0.05. Multiply by 100, and I have a 5% engagement rate.
Your math is spot on.
Phew.
And to give the listeners some context from the 2026 benchmarks in the guide, a nano-tier Instagram account, meaning 1 to 10,000 followers, should be aiming for an ER of 3.5 to 8.0%.
Okay, 3.5 to 8.
Right. If you dip below 2.0%, you are in a major warning threshold. But we have to clarify what counts as an engagement because the algorithm assigns entirely different weights to different actions.
Because tapping a heart takes a fraction of a second, whereas leaving a thoughtful comment or sending it to a friend requires actual cognitive effort.
Exactly. Which is why likes are weighted as medium priority. They signal path of approval.
Makes sense.
Shares are weighted high because that is a direct endorsement.
Yeah.
You are taking your personal reputation and using it to push content into a friend's direct messages.
Right, you're vouching for it.
But the highest algorithmic signal of all, as we touched on, is the save. It signals lasting utility.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. The guide introduces this concept called content interaction velocity.
Yes.
It's not just about accumulating those high-value saves, it's about the exact speed at which they happen.
Velocity is the ignition switch. If your post gets 50 saves in the first 60 minutes after publishing, that triggers a massive algorithmic escalation.
Wow.
Compare that to getting 50 saves spread evenly over 24 hours. The total number is the same, but the platform interprets the data entirely differently.
Because 50 saves in an hour tells the algorithm servers, hey, we have a viral event happening, allocate bandwidth, and push this to the top of the feed before the trend dies.
That is the exact mechanism.
Yeah.
High velocity in that hour one window proves immediate relevance.
I'm a bit confused by something in the source material, though.
What's that?
Well, we just established that engagement rate is the ultimate metric for understanding the engine, but the guide specifically calls ER a lagging indicator.
Ah, yes.
If it's so vital, why is it considered lagging? That sounds like the data is arriving too late to be useful.
What's fascinating here is how the guide separates macro strategy from micro adjustments. Think of your engagement rate as your algorithmic credit score.
Okay.
It's a big picture lagging metric. It tells you if your overall content strategy is working over a period of weeks or months. It dictates the baseline level of trust the platform has in you.
Right.
But your credit score does not tell you what to fix on a random Tuesday afternoon when a specific video completely flops.
I see. A credit score is the result of past actions. It doesn't help me buy groceries today.
Perfect analogy.
Ah.
To fix Tuesday's post, you need leading indicators. Those are your post-level metrics, like your 1 hour velocity or your watch-through rate.
For real-time stuff.
Right. ER is the thermometer telling you the account has a fever. Velocity and watch-through rates are the microscope showing you exactly which virus is causing it.
That clears it up perfectly. So let's say you nail the leading indicators. Your first hour velocity is incredibly high. The algorithm gets triggered. Where does the content actually go?
To the discovery engines.
Right. We need to shift from how people are reacting to where the algorithm is placing the content. discovery.
The primary distinction to grasp in discovery is reach versus impressions. Reach is the number of unique, individual accounts that saw your post.
Okay.
Impressions are the total number of times the post was displayed on a screen, including multiple views by the exact same person.
So if I'm scrolling and I watch a cooking video 3 times because the recipe was too fast, that counts as one single reach, but 3 separate impressions.
Exactly. Which is why looking at an impression count on its own can be incredibly deceiving. You might think you reached 10,000 people, but you only reached 3,000 people who watched it a few times.
That's a huge difference.
It is. However, if you look at the ratio between the two, a high impressions to reach ratio is a fantastic retention signal. It proves your existing audience finds the content rewatchable.
But rewatching doesn't grow the account. You're just preaching to the choir at that point.
That brings us to the ultimate growth signal. The holy grail for any account trying to scale is the proportion of non-follower reach.
Finding new people.
Yes. You want to see your traffic coming from the Explore page or the Reels tab, rather than just the home feed.
Because the home feed is just your current followers. But the guide also highlights that these discovery engines, the Explore pages, the For You pages, they operate on vastly different timelines depending on the platform.
Oh, completely. Content lifespans dictate your entire strategy.
Mm-hmm.
On Instagram, Reels have a very sharp drop-off after about 72 hours.
That fast?
Yeah. The initial velocity spikes, it gets pushed, and then it basically dies. Instagram carousels, on the other hand, can live up to 7 days.
Wait, hold on. Why would a carousel live for a week when a video dies in 3 days? What is the mechanical difference there?
It comes down to a built-in secondary distribution mechanism. With a carousel, if a user scrolls past the first slide and doesn't engage, Instagram's algorithm doesn't kill the post.
It doesn't.
No, it physically pushes that exact same post back into their feed a day or two later, but this time showing the second slide instead.
That is brilliant. It assumes maybe the first image just didn't catch your eye, so it tries another hook from the same post.
It is a built-in second chance. That mechanism is why carousels have a 7-day lifespan. TikTok, conversely, operates on a brutal 0 to 48-hour cycle.
Yikes.
It spikes and burns out incredibly fast. And then you have YouTube Shorts, which can accumulate views through search engine queries for weeks or even months after posting.
Treating all these platforms the same is a recipe for burnout. It's like bringing a slow-burning candle to a firecracker show.
That's exactly what it is.
But honestly, if TikToks die in 48 hours, is it even worth trying to build long-term authority there? It sounds like you are just constantly feeding a furnace that never stays hot.
The furnace metaphor is accurate, but this is why tracking that non-follower reach proportion on TikTok is vital. The guide sets a target of 60% or more non-follower reach. If your analytics show you are hitting that 60% mark, it proves you're continually escalating into new algorithmic pools.
So even if the video dies.
Exactly. Individual videos may burn out in 2 days, but the system of your account is successfully capturing new territory daily.
You're building long-term authority through a sheer, relentless volume of unique discovery.
Exactly.
Okay, but I want to speak for the listener right now because my head is spinning. We are talking about 24-hour velocity, 72-hour lifespans, 7-day carousel tracking mechanisms, YouTube search curves.
It's a lot of numbers.
It's so much. How on earth does a single creator or a small brand track this without going insane?
You have to build a ruthlessly simple system. You don't need a massive software subscription. The guide strongly advocates for a basic Google Sheets dashboard.
Just a spreadsheet.
Yeah, you create 1 row per post, and you log the data strictly at the 24-hour mark.
Just 24 hours. I don't go back and update it on day 3 or day 7.
You do not. 24 hours gives the post enough time to stabilize so you aren't reacting to minute-by-minute noise, but it's early enough to give you a clear leading indicator of how it will perform over its lifespan.
Okay.
But to make sense of the spreadsheet, you have to group your posts into content pillars, so you're comparing apples to apples.
Content pillars meaning categorizing them by their goal, like educational posts, community building posts, trend hopping posts, or narrative behind the scenes posts.
Right. Because you cannot compare an educational carousel's save rate to a narrative reels watch-through rate. They serve different purposes.
That makes total sense.
And organizing your spreadsheet this way brings us to what is arguably the most actionable takeaway in the entire framework, which is the monthly adjustment rule.
Yes, the monthly adjustment rule. Let's really break this down because it completely redefines how you manage a strategy.
At the end of every month, you look at your spreadsheet. You identify your lowest performing content pillar. You are allowed to make exactly one format or topic change to that pillar for the next month.
Just one.
Just one. Then you look at your highest performing pillar. You are allowed to add one additional post per week of that specific format. Everything else in your strategy holds completely steady.
Okay, I have to be honest, I hate this rule.
Most people do it first.
I mean, if I'm a creator and I see my views dropping on a Tuesday, my immediate instinct is to change my lighting, swap my background music, rewrite my caption style, and post at a different time of day.
Exactly.
You were telling me I essentially have to sit on my hands for 3 weeks? That feels like algorithmic suicide.
It feels restrictive, but your instinct to change everything at once is fundamentally flawed. Human instinct cannot distinguish between correlation and causation.
True.
If you change 4 variables on a Wednesday and that video goes viral,
Yeah.
you learn absolutely nothing.
Because I don't know which of the 4 changes actually caused the spike.
Was it the lighting? Was it the new trending audio? Was it the hook? You don't know,
Yeah.
which means you cannot deliberately replicate the success. You just got lucky. The monthly adjustment rule forces you to isolate variables. It turns your feed into a controlled science experiment, ensuring that when the data shifts, you know exactly what caused it.
That makes a frustrating amount of sense. Patience actually creates better data. But even with the best controlled experiments, systems inevitably break down. Growth stalls.
It always happens eventually.
How do you use this spreadsheet to know when your account is about to stall before it actually happens?
Treating your dashboard as an early warning system is what saves accounts from dying. If you see your overall engagement rate declining for 4 consecutive weeks, you are in dangerous territory.
4 weeks straight.
Yeah. That is not a fluke of the algorithm, that is a systemic issue. The guide isolates 3 primary culprits for this: content fatigue, audience misalignment, or premature monetization.
Well, premature monetization is the easiest one to understand. You built trust, and then you just shoved too many ads, sponsored posts, or product pitches down your audience's throat.
Yep.
They felt used, so they checked out.
The trust is broken. But the most insidious culprit to diagnose is content fatigue. The guide has a brilliant diagnostic tool for this. In your spreadsheet, you sort your posts by hook style.
Meaning the specific visual or verbal way you open the video in the first 3 seconds.
Right. Think about a hook like starting a video by pointing at text on the screen versus a hook where you ask a negative question like, why is your engagement dropping?
Got it.
If you track a specific hook style and you see its watch-through rate declining over the last 5 times you used it, that hook is fatigued. The audience has become blind to it.
The pattern interrupt isn't interrupting anymore. It's just background noise. So what's the prescription?
You retire that specific hook entirely for 4 to 6 weeks. You let the audience forget it, and you test a new variable.
That is so specific and actionable. What about reach stagnation? Like when your views just flatline entirely?
When reach flatlines, you look at your traffic sources. If you see the proportion of non-follower reach shrinking and your traffic shifting heavily back to the home feed, it means you have lost your discovery distribution.
The algorithm just stopped pushing you to new people.
Exactly. And this usually happens because your niche signal has become confusing.
So what does this all mean? It means this entire framework literally turns paralyzing creative anxiety into a calm, methodical checklist.
Which is exactly what we need.
But I have a major concern about that second culprit you mentioned earlier, audience misalignment. Let's say I evolved as a creator. I look at my data, and my old followers just aren't engaging with my new, better content.
Right.
My ER is dropping. Am I doomed? Do I just delete the account and start over from zero?
A lot of creators panic and do exactly that, but no, you don't burn the ship down.
Okay, good.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the guide offers a clear strategic solution. You post ruthlessly niche consistent content for 60+ days.
2 straight months of not wavering from the new topics.
You are intentionally retraining the algorithm. You will bleed some of your old followers in the short term.
Yeah.
And that will hurt your vanity metrics. But by staying consistent, your watch-through rates and save rates from the right people will slowly strengthen.
I see.
You're gradually replacing a misaligned audience with an aligned one, which repairs your algorithmic credit score in the long run.
It all comes back to playing the long game instead of chasing the dopamine hit of a viral spike. Data without a framework is just noise. It is the fog we talked about at the beginning.
Absolutely.
But by focusing deeply on growth indicators over vanity metrics, by understanding the mechanical lifespans of different platforms, and by strictly applying that monthly adjustment rule to isolate variables, Anyone can turn their analytics from a retrospective autopsy into a predictive growth engine.
And this raises a deeply important question, one that the 2026 framework implies, but leaves us to ponder on our own.
Mm.
This guide was originally designed for AI influencers. If every AI avatar, and frankly every human creator who adopts this, uses this exact data framework to perfectly optimize their hooks, engineer their carousels for secondary distribution, and maximize their save rates, are we training the algorithms to understand what humans want?
Yeah.
Or have the algorithms successfully trained us to only produce and consume one specific type of perfectly optimized psychological trigger?
Oh, that gives me chills.
Right.
Who is actually programming who? We think we are decoding the machine, but the machine is just conditioning our behavior to keep us on the app longer.
Exactly.
That is a profound thought to leave off on. If you are listening, we want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking questions about the media you consume. Keep looking past the vanity metrics on your own profiles. And next time you are mindlessly scrolling, pause and ask yourself, what exact metric did I just give the algorithm to make it put this in front of me? Check your dashboard, isolate your variables, and whatever you do, don't get lost in the fog.
Thank you for listening to AI Creator World Podcast. If you found this episode valuable, make sure to follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, and share this episode with another creator who is building their future online. For deeper guides, AI tools, and step-by-step growth strategies, visit our website at aicreatorworld.net. And remember, in the age of artificial intelligence, creators who learn faster will lead the future. See you in the next episode. Bye!